Yuji and Naoya are two of the most polarizing characters in the entire game. They're controversial in conversations about balancing, controversial in conversations about design, controversial when people rank characters by skill. They're the two characters who, when you ask people for their opinions on them, you will always find at least two people with a different opinion in the room, unless you're in an echo chamber of people who all share the same viewpoints. Some people think Yuji and Naoya are the most brain-dead characters in the game. Overpowered, annoying, way too strong, and need to be nerfed into the ground, skillless, free wins, Z tier, whatever. And then on the other side of the aisle, if you look at tier lists from a lot of good people, you'll find them at the bottom. Or you talk to people who like discussing balancing in JJS, and they'll say Yuji and Naoya are both trash. Why is that? That's what this video is going to explain, from somebody who has had both opinions during their time playing JJS. We'll explain why some players think they're overpowered, some think they're bottom tier, and why mostly everyone finds them annoying. Before we do get into it, consider subscribing for even more analysis of JJS characters. And now, let's talk about Naoya and Yuji. Yuji and Naoya are two characters who play very similarly, in that they rely on the fundamental mechanics of the game to get them combos, and then take that one step further by having tools to make them better at those fundamental mechanics. Yuji's tool is his feints, specifically the ones tied to Crushing Blow and Curse Strike's Aerial. By using either of these feints, Yuji puts himself in the air, and with Crushing Blow he also moves himself forward a bit. This height is enough to give him a roll, which lets him close the gap even more and in general have more mobility. All of this lets him, for one, run away easier and avoid attacks by having a constant movement tool besides a side dash, and it lets him get into the perfect range for a side dash M1 to start a combo. Meanwhile, Naoya's tool is much simpler. Instead of having a forward dash, he gets the side dash twice. That lets him do stuff other characters can't, like burning one side dash to get close, and then using the second to do your normal side dash M1, or dodging one attack with a side dash, and then dodging a second one with his follow-up, like if he wasted a side dash against a Yuki, and then used his second to dodge an incoming Mass Breaker. What's very strong about that, specifically at lower levels of play, is that people aren't very good at dealing with the side dash M1, and so they either resort to three playstyles: side dash M1 the opponent before they can side dash M1 me, run away and spam moves, or hope they forward dash and punish that instead. All of those fail against Yuji and Naoya. Side dash M1 them first, Yuji dodges with either of his feints, Naoya his other side dash, and then they side dash M1 you to punish your whiff. They are very strong whiff punishers in that regard. Run away and spam moves? Relying on moves in neutral works, that's how I and a lot of other good players approach JJS, and that's how you're supposed to generally play the top tiers, sure. But a good deal of the player base does it wrong, and that's called running, and it's so predictable that none of their options actually work. So the Yuji and Naoya getting close on someone who never learned to M1 trade, and just kill them. Hope they forward dash and punish it? Yuji and Naoya don't need to do that. They get in just fine with their movement tools so that they can side dash M1 you. Nobody needs to forward dash realistically. Sounds scary, right? But it's not, and what I'm about to say is the reason these characters end up so low on the tier list of a lot of good players. Outside of that buff to their fundamentals, these characters have nothing. Pretty much all their moves are worthless in neutral, and if you hear anybody call a character an M1 merchant, that's why. They can't start with anything besides M1ing somebody. That means there's two ways to counter these characters, and this goes for all M1 merchants, so add Hikari and Todo to the list too. Those two ways are to either get good at M1 trading, or get good at using moves in neutral. I personally took the second path, and you'll find that most good players do one of these two things. If you get good at M1 trading, Naoya and Yuji have genuinely nothing. Just block out their M1s, punish them, and they die. If you're a demon at Gojo, Locust, or Hikari, you'll probably stomp on most Naoya and Yuji's, because to be good at those two characters means to be really good at M1 trading. And if you're just better than the other player in that specialty, and keep engaging in M1 trades, you'll win. Specifically with Gojo and Locust, they deal way more damage than Naoya and Yuji, while also being evasive safe. So generally, these two characters will win each time, though ultimately it's a test of who's better at M1 trading. As for the other path, if you just ignore M1 trading entirely, then Naoya and Yuji can't do anything. You've ripped off their legs, basically. Charles kind of murks Yuji because without the side dash M1, his only approach tool is a Crushing Blow feint, and that gets really predictable since Charles can side dash M1 him out of the air. That's the weakness of the feint. Hanami also just murks Naoya and Yuji, Keep dashing away, spam aerial surging thorns in your forward dash, and you'll just keep hitting these characters who can't do anything, because they can only operate on people who willingly engage in M1 trades with them. A good Ryu, or a Mechamaru, or a Choso can all stomp on Yuji and Naoya as well. Just don't engage in M1 trades and keep throwing down moves until the Yuji or Naoya gets impatient and stops playing defensively, and you will eventually catch them for a huge combo. Before I keep talking, I should explain why Naoya and Yuji are so limited with their neutral at higher levels of play, because it's not obvious unless you take these characters into high elo ranked. Grounded Curse Strikes is easy to block or dodge, and in both cases it's extremely punishable. Aerial Curse Strikes on the other hand is much harder to avoid, but outside of being a good finisher, it's not good for combo starting because it's punishable with an evasive. That, and it takes away your highest damage combo tool. Regular Crushing Blow is a generic guard break, but with very short range, to the point that using it directly after Curse Strikes in a combo can actually whiff, because the hitbox is so small. Then Aerial Crushing Blow is blockable, and really reactable too. Divergent Fist is only good against people with slow reaction speed, and it's easy to just let go of the keyboard when you see it happening if you're far away from Yuji, or just M1 him if he's using it too close, which he shouldn't be doing. Black Flash is an even worse case and shares the same flaws with none of the benefits. And then finally, Manji Kick, which is the only good neutral he has. It's a counter with True Ragdoll, and that means you can lead into Crushing Blow, which leads into Curse Strikes, which leads into M1s into Black Flash chaining. That's all well and good, sure, but it's a counter at the end of the day, and a counter being your only good neutral tool heavily limits your ability to play offensively. Meanwhile, for Naoya, Projection Breaker is reactable and very blockable, though at the very least it's safe on block, but if you do use it and it doesn't land, you just lost your biggest frame meter builder, and now you either have to stall until it's off cooldown, or you engage and then have to win 3 to 4 M1 trades to frame them. Bleed Out is a respectable guard break. I don't have any criticism for it, but it doesn't lead into M1s or contribute to Naoya's frame meter, so it can't be at the core of his neutral. Decisive Strikes is fast enough to work, but it's risky, and you kind of have to use it in their face because from a far distance, Naoya just gets counter hit out of it. And then Cursory Impact. Look, Cryptozoid told me this was a good neutral move. I can't find myself agreeing. It gives you 12 damage on hit, but on whiff it's very punishable by someone just forward dashing you. You have to bait side dash so they don't just dodge it, and you have to use it from the right distance so that you don't slide right past them and miss with a small hitbox. What's funny with Naoya specifically is that he uses his moves so little in neutral, since he's reliant on double dashes and can't immediately dump his moves off in a single M1 combo, like Yuji can, that in Naoya mirror matches he actually procs Super Bleed very often. Like, over and over again often. It's also hard for Naoya to intentionally clear bleed, since moves that self-frame don't clear a bleed stack. But like in general, he just doesn't use enough moves to clear out the 3 stacks before the other Naoya gets bleed out off cooldown. Naoya mirrors are kind of funny because of that, but I digress. Even in damage, these characters just aren't that good. Or sometimes they are. It depends on guessing games, their damage output isn't consistent. Yuji is the obvious one. He gets a consistent 27.5 damage from 3 M1s plus Curse Strikes, since Curse Strikes does a ridiculous 17.5 damage. Then you either do Crushing Blow to be evasive safe, which puts you at 39.5 damage, let's just round that up to 40, or you go for a Black Flash chain and either get 10 more damage for 37.5 damage, while also giving them a delicious evasive Punisher combo you whiff, or in the alternative scenario, they guess wrong 3 times, and you get 36 more damage for a total of 63.5, which is really high for damage you can't evasive out of. Or you do the Yuji Sweat Tech, feint the last hit, and then Black Flash them 8 times to just one-shot combo them. It's all ifs and potential. This is never going to happen against a good player unless you get absurdly lucky, but there are bad players out there who don't know how to deal with a Black Flash chain, or know that it's even evasive punishable. And so to them, it's 37.5 unevasivable damage at best, or them getting one shot at worst. In general, with Yuji, he has lots of ways to green M1 reset, like doing aerial curse strikes above someone's head, and then feinting it before side dash M1ing them when they get up. Or he can whiff Crushing Blow to hit the shockwave. That one's actually pretty consistent. Or he can dash away and use Divergent Fist to catch someone who block buffers. But of course this loses to someone who can react. However, it's all potential. He can reach some really high damage numbers against people, but he has to fight someone either really bad or get lucky against someone good. Naoya, on the other hand, has 2 combo routes for damage. the consistent one, and the 50-50 swap. The consistent one is doing 3 M1's projection breaker, and then landing another M1 combo for a frame. Hard to call it a combo when it's really 2, but you can then break that with cursory impact. The sum of all those hits deal 47.5 damage, which really isn't that good for having to win 2 interactions, but if you're the average JJS player whose fundamentals aren't good enough to shut down Naoya, that might as well be one big combo because he keeps forcing himself into M1 trades that will kill people that can't block. The other one is really strong actually, and the one I like doing, which is 4 M1s plus decisive strikes plus 4 M1s, which frames them off one combo. Then you break that with cursory impact or projection breaker for a total of 54.5 damage if you did cursory impact, or 57 if you did projection breaker. The reason it's 50-50 is because it's a guessing game between front or back. You should always do the one-tap version. What you do is either go behind their back when hitting with decisive, or you pretend to go behind the back and then flip the camera around and then back again to hit their front, which I do a lot because at high levels, most people predict you'll go behind them. That gives Naoya a chance to do 57 damage off 1 M1 combo that you can't really evasive out of, though you technically can, but you really shouldn't, why evasive is 4 M1, or a chance to get blocked and die to the enemy's combo. Even though it's not consistent, even though it's gambling, it still feels unfair or annoying to get hit by because you just lost half your HP off getting M1'd a single time. And mind you, Naoya's not the only character who can do this. Megumi has a 66 damage unevasivable combo. Mechamaru has around a 50%-ish inescapable combo, but those combos have pretty tight inputs that are hard to figure out and aren't common knowledge to the community, while Naoya's is really simple for anyone to find without outside resources. It's just 4 M1s, decisive 4 M1s. Your average player will try this 5 minutes into playing Naoya, so it makes that high damage way more accessible even if it's weaker, because it's not consistent. He also has these really strong combos off frame that punish people for wasting their evasive. If you frame someone, you can use R special into decisive strikes, and if they don't evasive it, it frames them again, for even more damage. The problem is that Naoya genuinely has no safe evasive bait. Cursory impact and projection breaker, bleed out, or decisive strikes? That doesn't work, because both are highly reactable and highly punishable too. You can punish R into decisive if you ragdoll at the right time too, and Naoya just has no way to bait evasive without getting punished himself. But again, you don't notice unless you play JJS a lot and figure out this counterplay, and so people will waste their evasive fighting Naoya and proceed to die, and then they'll complain that his damage is way too high. Naoya can absolutely nuke your HP if the stars align, and so can Yuji. Better yet, both these characters are simple and easy to play. By their nature as fundamentals characters, you don't need to learn anything special to play them. You just need to get good at basic M1 trading and you'll be fine. People don't really screw up when playing these characters, and they don't have much they can screw up on. Side dash M1ing is a safe option, unlike some moves in the game where you can get punished. And so that's why these characters are so annoying in JJS. For most people, M1 trading is the farthest they will ever go when it comes to the game's neutral, and what Naoya and Yuji and Charles do is give themselves an advantage at that game. Sure, it might fall off against characters that are strong enough to ignore M1 trading, or fall off against people who are so good that they can overcome the advantage. But most people struggle to block a side dash M1, and Yuji and Naoya punish that weakness so hard that they can feel impossible to beat if you're not good enough at the game to shut that thing they do down. Add their ability to reach huge damage, even though all of it's green, and yeah, it gets even more annoying for the casual player base. They don't know how to block out of that green M1 reset. All they know is that they just got hit by what they think isn't a 100% combo, and now they think the character is overpowered. Being completely honest, if you lose to a Naoya or Yuji, you'd lose to them playing any other character too. They're a check of your M1 trading skill, not that much more. This goes for the people who use them too. A character being easy and consistent is gonna make the person using them think they're really good, and unless you go up against one of those brick walls that sit at 100 elo that are gonna block you and kill you, you're gonna keep winning with Yuji from the get-go. Whereas Haruta, for example, will definitely take a few losses until you get the hang of him, even though he's a stronger character. But then, what do? You can't nerf them, that's not gonna fix the issue at all, unless what you killed off was their extra mobility. But then at that point, you just made these characters unusably bad, and a copy-paste of Gojo, Hikari, Locust. Realistically, no balance changes are gonna change the opinion that the community has on these characters, because their core gimmicks give them these huge highs against bad players where they kill the opponent without a chance to fight back, and also give them these low lows, where they struggle hard against people that are good at the game. As long as their core design stays the same, people are gonna have the same divided opinion. I'd suggest a rework, which I've also seen as a suggestion a lot, but these are popular characters. Maybe not Naoya, I think he could be reworked without much of an issue, but Yuji has been around since release, and he has stayed the same since release. I don't want to lightly suggest a rework, because I know the JJS community and how big of a riot they would throw at a rework, even if 90% of them hate fighting Yuji. Realistically, the option is to just do nothing. They aren't balancing issues so much as they're just annoying, and the game is a casual one with competitive aspects. Neither of these characters are problematic for competitive players. They're just irritating because both are good at stalling, and while casual players find them annoying, JJS is a shenanigans game for them, and most of the players are either gonna get good enough at the fundamentals that Yuji and Naoya stop being an issue to them, or they're just not gonna care, and they'll just fight their friends in private servers, or mess around with the workshop, or for the evil path they call in their gang to jump Yuji and Naoya. Call me a fence sitter, but for balancing purposes, I think these characters are fine where they are, and fun, as with most things, is subjective. With that, that's every single thing I have to say on Yuji and Naoya. If you have your own thoughts on the characters, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I'm sure some interesting discussions will pop up from that with how many people have divided opinions on them. I'm Noob Eternally, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time in another one. Bye.